She screamed, "That's a horrible accusation," when I questioned if the baby was mine. She told everyone I was jealous and crazy. I stayed quiet. Then months later at the family meeting I just slid the paternity test across the table. The silence was the only answer I needed. Hey everyone. I'm in a really dark place and I genuinely don't know what my next move should be. It's crazy how life works. My partner and I have known each other since we were kids, old school friends who always had a kind of soft spot for each other. We never acted on it until late last year. We had both gotten out of long-term relationships a year or so prior and just kind of found our way back to each other. It developed fast into this relationship that was so vibrant and fiery, but also felt incredibly easy. It was amazing. We'd constantly ask each other, why didn't we do this with each other years ago? A few months in, something terrible happened. She found out that her most significant ex, a guy she had a long history with, had drowned while on vacation in Spain. It completely shook her world. I got it. I still have a lot of respect for my own ex. And I'd be destroyed if something like that happened to her. I told my partner I'd support her through it. And that I'd give her space to grieve if she needed it. She didn't push me away. In fact, she leaned in. But she appreciated the offer. I'll be honest. It wasn't easy watching her honor him so intensely. But I knew my role was to be her rock. So I stuck by her. Months went by, leading up to the funeral and memorial service. And during that time, we accidentally conceived a baby. We talked about it. And we both realized we wanted this. We'd both always wanted to be parents. The timing wasn't perfect. And we weren't even living together yet. But I was just overjoyed. This felt like our future clicking into place. We immediately started planning everything for the baby's arrival in December. Looking at houses to buy. And mapping out our new life together. But around this time, I started noticing something small. We were always transparent with each other about everything, except for one person. She'd mentioned seeing a friend or an old friend. But it was always vague. Then there was this contact on her phone. She'd be texting them. And the second I walked into the room, the phone would be flipped over or put away. I asked about it casually a couple of times. But the answer was always deflective. Like, oh, just someone I know from work. Or a friend from the last city I lived in. She'd just close up a bit. My gut was telling me something was off. But I made a conscious decision. I decided to respect her privacy. I told myself that after everything we'd been building, everything we'd been through, she would never be unfaithful. I chose to trust her. After a few stressful months of house viewings, we finally had an offer accepted on a place we both loved. With the first trimester officially over and the risk of miscarriage dropping, we decided to celebrate. We booked a 10-day holiday, a chance to just relax, connect, and get excited about everything that was coming. The first few days were great. We had fun. We had deep discussions about our future. And it felt like we were more solid than ever. But the texting started up again. This time, it was constant. And I started noticing things I couldn't ignore. I'd take a nice picture of her by the pool. And a minute later, I'd see her sending it to him. But she never sent the ones of us together. She was always angled away from me. Her screen hidden. A little smile on her face that wasn't for me. The uneasy feeling came roaring back. One evening, I couldn't take it anymore. I told her straight up, I'm a bit uneasy about this guy. You talk freely about everyone in your life. But you won't even say his name? What's going on? She looked at me like I was crazy. She said I was being silly. That they had a short fling a few months before we started dating. But they both decided to call it quits and just remain good friends. The way she said it made me feel pathetic. A hot wave of shame washed over me. I felt like I was accusing her, mistrusting her for no reason. I immediately backed down and apologized. And we made up. But then, a day later, I saw her do it again, sent him a solo picture I'd just taken of her. It just felt wrong. And then it hit me. I remembered a specific night a month back where she told me she was meeting up with a group of old friends. I now knew for a fact, based on something she let slip, that she had been with just him. I tested her. I asked her a casual question about that night that I already knew the answer to. And she lied right to my face. That's when I knew. Something was very, very wrong. The moment of truth came a day later. We were in the hotel room getting ready to go out. She went to the bathroom and left her phone on the bed next to me. Can you just watch that for me? she asked. I stood there, my heart pounding in my chest. My brain was at war with itself. Don't do it. This is a massive violation of trust. You'll be the bad guy. But another voice fired back. She's already lying to you. The trust is already broken. You have to know. I couldn't live with the not knowing anymore. I picked up the phone, my hand shaking, and opened their chat. It was all there. Flirty texts were the least of it. I saw messages from him about how great last night was. How much he loved her body. I saw her responding. Talking about how much she liked being held by him. Describing sexual acts. I scrolled up. Checking the dates. It wasn't from before we were together. This was happening while we were committed. While we were looking for a house for our family. One of them, a clear mention of them being in bed together, was dated just weeks before our baby was conceived. My whole world just fell apart on that screen. I confronted her right there in the hotel room. I didn't even have to raise my voice. I just asked, "What is this?" I thought I didn't have to worry. Her first move was denial. She said it was just the way they talk. That it was a joke. That I was taking it out of context? My mind was reeling. I was looking at black and white text describing them in bed together. And she was telling me it was a figure of speech. She said she had been trying to distance herself from him after she got pregnant. But he kept reaching out. She admitted she reciprocated the flirting. But insisted she wasn't cheating. The timeline on her phone said otherwise. I asked her why she would plan a future and have a baby with me if she was still involved with someone else. That's when the tears started. She said she hasn't been in her right mind since her ex died. That she was sorry. And that the future with me and the baby was the only one she wanted. Then, right in front of me, she picked up her phone and sent him a long message ending things for good. It felt less like a moment of true remorse and more like a calculated move to save the situation. The rest of the holiday was a nightmare. We'd sit in complete silence for hours. Then we'd try to talk it through. I'd tell her how gutted I was. How I trusted her completely. She would flip between being incredibly upset and admitting she was wrong, to then justifying it or minimizing what they did. The conversation always ended up in the same defensive circle. I'd say I couldn't believe she'd do this after I'd supported her so much. And she'd reply that we needed to move on and focus on the baby and our family. But with the dates of their affair being so close to conception, I had a horrifying thought. I had to ask. I told her I was worried about whether I was even a part of the family we were starting. She shot back instantly. Don't you dare go there. That's a horrible accusation. When I told her that I couldn't, in good conscience, go through with buying the house with her right now, she delivered the final blow. She threatened me. She said if I wasn't going to support her, she would find another companion to see her through the rest of the pregnancy and birth. That was it. I felt like I was being held to ransom. Since we got back, I've officially pulled out of the house purchase. She's responded by completely icing me out for the last few days. Our 20-week scan is this Monday, and I have no idea if I'm even invited anymore. Honestly, the infidelity is one thing, but her behavior since I found out, the lies, the manipulation, the threat, is somehow even worse. I know for a fact she's already told her parents that I'm just being jealous of her male friend and that this is all in my head. I still love her and I feel like I could forgive the cheating eventually. But my self-respect is screaming at me. A part of me feels like I have to end this and just focus on co-parenting. But the baby is coming in December. And the thought of bringing a child into a broken home that I helped break before they were even born is destroying me. I feel trapped. I want to be a father. But I don't want to be a doormat. My largest fear is her painting me as the villain who walked out on his pregnant partner. What do I do here? Reddit. Am I supposed to suck it up for the baby? Or do I stand up for myself and risk losing everything?